The Bears win 24-17 in the most ugliest Bears fashion that Zach, we were ranting, but then I thought about this as the countdown was happening here. Why do we feel so shocked this is how the Bears won? We've been living through this since like 2003, like
it was a roller coaster today. I thought this was going to be like a typical mid-season game last year where it's just watching the life of me and others around me slowly fade away as the day goes on. But you know what? Best comp I've got for this game, Steve, and I'm not saying this team is like that team at all, so please do not take this out of context, reminds me of the Cardinals-Bears Monday Night Football game from 2006, where offense just doesn't exist. Defense and special teams carry the load all the way to the finish line, along with a little bit of self-destruction thrown into the mix. I mean, good win. Like, good to get a win under your belt. But to say that I'm coming out of this game saying, yes, all the hype around the one unit that we thought was going to have the biggest leap, and credit, it's week one, but still, that hype is clearly not there. It's back to putting stuff under the radar on the offensive side of the ball once again. And I got some beef with one specific person later on in this show that did cause a lot of problems too. But we can go wherever with this. Win 24-17. Thank you, Will Levis, for self-destructing at the best possible time. You single-handedly, to me, sans a excellent punt block and then returned by Jonathan Edwards.
Just like Lovie Smith
this one away. Or Jonathan Owens gave this one away.
Lovie Smith self-destructing at the pick.
I will take it. Thank you for the self-destruct. I appreciate it. That's all I got to give you. That's where I'm leading off with.
I saw your tweet that said that. I was like, that's awesome. Thank you, Will Levis, for single-handedly.
You, sir, are my favorite mayonnaise in coffee person I know on this planet. Thank you so much.
But we were not far off with our score predictions. No. I will say that. We were there. I just thought they would come from offense. I thought that,
right?
I thought, we have maybe one passing touchdown and one rushing touchdown and a couple field goals here and there. And then just kind of never knew where the rest of this was going to come. My God. I tweeted this. I said, this is why the game is not played on paper. Like, it was in full display of why the game is not played on paper. You have to go out and play the game. And I allowed myself to get sucked into what the offense could be, but we tried to talk about it in the pregame. Oh, Zach, you just left.
What the? Hang on. I don't know what happened.
I just scared Zach out of the building. This is what happens on the Coach Steve Show. We have technical difficulties.
So silly.
Your camera had enough.
That is so silly. I am so sorry. This will go away. All this junk on screen will go away. I'm not sure what's happening. Yes, you must have scared me off, apparently. That is clearly what happened there. Or my camera freaked out.
You have the better jersey, so the camera was like, hey, they can't see the better, like...
Speaking of which, I love that you're leading in with the better jersey thing. So, like, I love this custom. By the way, real quick, this is a custom George Halas jersey with the 1936 retrofit, like, lines on the side shoulder pads. My favorite one, the orange one you're referring to, I've had since, like, middle school, and it still fits me. It is my custom number 41 Pain Train jersey, 41 referencing Brian Piccolo. So,
yeah.
A little insight there for you on the choice. It is old though. It still has the Reebok logo on it, just to give you a little reference.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm the jersey killer because every time I only have 2 Bears jerseys. I got Brandon Marshall, and then like 2 months later he gets traded.
Okay, very nice.
I got the Khalil Mack, and then after the season he was gone. So I said, hold on, I might be the reason. So that's why it crossed my mind at one point to get a Justin Fields jersey to make sure he was going to go. But I couldn't swallow my pride and spend $100 on a Justin Fields jersey just to use it as toilet paper later on in life. I just stayed away from it. But yes, we were not far off. We thought, I will say this, though. The game started off the way I thought it would.
Hmm.
Actually, even better. And I'm speaking from defense. The
Sure.
defense looked really fast. They looked very aggressive, and they were making Will Levis uncomfortable. And that's one of the things we talked about. Can you get pressure on the quarterback? Can you stop the run game? And that, I would almost say, I argue to say the first quarter. The first quarter, the defense was like, hey, we're here to play.
Yeah.
The offense, I knew that they wouldn't score on the first drive. I wanted them to, but I had a feeling they wouldn't. He's got to feel out the game. He is a rookie. This is not preseason no more. And I was like, okay, the defense is here. Like this looks good, right?
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, they start to allow big plays. They allow things to start happening. Then you start to go, okay. And then why is it Velus Jr.? Why is he still returning? We've done this. The announcer said this.
Is Velus paying Ryan Poles? Is there something he has on Ryan Poles? Why does Ryan Poles keep going back to the Velus Jones well? And I understand. You and I talked. The report is he's got trade value. But come on, where? What are you getting now? He almost gave away, I mean, credit not single-handedly, but like, again, another flub. I have not seen this man have any consistent good performances since he's been in Chicago. And he was a bubble roster pick this year. And the rumor is trade value. Like, this was trade value? And of course, they switch finally to get Taylor involved. But I'm like, don't. He should be a depth piece if you want to move on from him. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I am at my last wit's end for the Bears trying to use and experiment with a guy that came in as an older player and has not fulfilled what he was brought in to be.
No. And again, I know in the offseason they said, hey, we're trying him at running back. He's rotating at wide receiver. And he's fast. I actually thought he looked okay at running back when he was in the preseason. He had that one good run before it happened. They put him at running back. He got like 11 yards or 10 yards. I can't remember what it was because he is pretty fast. And I'm like, okay, this is what he could do. Maybe he's your jet sweep guy. Then all of a sudden I see him on kick return. And I even said this to the screen. I'm like, oh no. And then that happened. And again, he didn't single-handedly lose it. But you're down, 10-0? The momentum is all with the Titans, or 7-0, and then you do that?
It was 7. They just kicked it off. And then luckily defense stood up and they had to hold into a field goal. But like, you're fumbling, it's inside the 30-yard line. Tough task. And credit, momentum was not in their favor at that point. Didn't help either that allows the defense to stay on longer, which was a huge problem in the first half. Offense couldn't get anything going, with not saying they could all day, but like first half in particular, nothing was working. No offense, no first downs, no signs of any life. Straight up 3 and out or 2 quick series, and then you're done.
No, and the run game wasn't working well. They had a couple good pops.
Mm-hmm.
If they get a 3-yard run on any run play, I'm happy. You're looking at it going, okay. But the passing wasn't there. I thought the center position struggled at pass protection.
Oh my God. Coleman Shelton, you've introduced me to my one subject I had to get rid of. They cannot go into next week with Coleman Shelton as being the starting center after what just happened. That is arguably the worst center position play I have seen in Chicago over the last 5 years. Worst.
Doug Kramer time, baby.
Bring on the Illinois guy. Anything, pick anything. I don't care. Shelton should not be out there. Bulldozed twice, had 2 drives get killed because he got bulldozed his own way, had at least 1 pass deflection. And I know he had at minimum that I counted 2 penalties as well that were part of drive killers. Complete liability at one of the worst spot, at the worst possible spot in the interior line. Got to do something. I mean, it was atrocious.
It was.
The entire time I was like, this is disgusting. This is the best option they got to play center.
It must be. And then I'm not saying the rest of the O-line played fantastic the whole time, but I remember there was that drop back play action. He turns around and the nose guard was already in his face. And I'm like, that's on the center.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's getting pressure up the middle. And then you know what happens to young quarterbacks? They get happy feet. So there was times he was, he wasn't Justin Fields where he immediately took off, but he wanted to. you could see when he was moving around the pocket, he would start to move forward. Then he's like, oh, wait a minute. I need to stop because and then he tried to make too many plays doing that. He was like doing these weird throws that were not getting there. I thought the Titans covered up the receivers pretty well. I can't wait to get the all 2022 and look at it and really try to do that this year.
Yeah, I'm going to be getting that this week as well. We'll both have same insight and looks on the 22 this time.
Yeah,
so that'll be good.
I got to do a better job of doing that this year. I want to break it down and do YouTube videos on it or something because I really want to look at this. And I just thought, I don't know, they tried wide zone a lot and it wasn't working. I didn't really see a lot of power and GT stuff. So I really hate talking about that stuff because I don't know what the game plan was. I didn't sit there and break down Tennessee. But again, first games always can go rough because you can watch film of Tennessee last year, but it's a new head coach. It's a new defensive coordinator. They have new players. So if they were to play Tennessee 4 weeks from now again, they would have film and you might see a better game plan. And people like to think whatever your game plan was going in that you can just switch it and you can make these huge halftime adjustments. Let me tell you what happens at a halftime. And I'm speaking from a high school perspective and a little bit of college. You don't go into halftime and say, we're going to run an entire new offense. Let's put it in 15 minutes, 12 minutes. That's not what happens.
No, afraid not.
What happens is you try to calm everybody down, whether you're winning or losing. If you're hyped up, you try to bring them back down to earth. If you're losing, you try to build them up. Then you just start to make tweaks like, hey, your route is at 10 yards. Let's make it 8 because this is what's happening. Maybe you need a stutter step here. Hey, we are going to try to put in heavier formations to try to do this. Like, you're not going to go out there and just do whatever. So when people get frustrated in the second half, like, why do they keep doing this? Well, that was the game plan. That's what they went in to do. And you're not going to make these like, hey, let's keep a guy in here to block more. Let's keep a guy here in to do this. Like, those are the halftime adjustments that you make. You don't come up with a whole new game plan. So these people that think that's what happens and they got frustrated in the second half with the offense still, this is what it is. Could they have gone more up tempo with Caleb Williams? Maybe like he got the ball out quick. But again, we're not at practice. Maybe they tried that and it doesn't go well all the time. Maybe they're afraid of him throwing an interception, going way too fast. And this is an NFL defense. Like, just a lot of things that can go on.
Well, I think the grander question is about overthrows.
Like, overthrows.
If we're talking after today, like, overthrows were the problem. Some sort of communication issue. I don't know what it is. The receiving core, for the most part, something was off all day. Like, whether it was Caleb missing, like, either just one or to the side or the other, whether it was Rome Odunze running copy routes with like Keenan Allen on a few plays, like, something's got to get worked on there. I don't know how that looked that disoriented in the secondary with our top 3 guys. Like, I can't like, Keenan Allen looked the most consistent, but yet he drops a touchdown pass today.
Now he's hobbling.
And now he's hobbling. DJ Moore got a little bit rattled up on this one too. You know, and again, Rome Odunze, I remember we were talking pre-show. I thought there was going to be chemistry. He looked the most lost of the receivers. Like, there were some times he was not sure what was going on in the route combos. And you could tell, like, in the replays, he was trying to kind of save some. Or one of the overthrows that Caleb had to Keenan Allen is Rome running essentially a very similar post-ish route where you're kind of combining the defenders together.
Well, that play was supposed to go to the left, bad snap, so he just goes to his right. And then it's scramble drills, so they're like, oh, he's running. We had a shorter route. Let's make it longer. You have to do the opposite.
I mean, that's fair, but to me as a receiver, and credit, I've never played receiver, but I don't see that. You shouldn't be finding an option that opens up the zone because you shouldn't be bundling up. And Rome's trailing Keenan. It's not like he doesn't know Keenan Allen's behind him. Like, he can see that he's clearly bunched up there.
But that's something I don't think we've talked about enough either is Odunze's a rookie too.
True. And again, that could be part of it. So,
but
yeah,
Caleb Williams and company, I think, need to take a step back and say there is a lot of hype and we need to stop focusing on the damn hype and just focus on what they're doing. Because I said this, if you put Super Bowl aspirations on this team, we're not going to get there because that's all that's going to be talked about and focused on. And do we give Caleb a pass? A little bit, because he's a rookie. That's what we're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you got people that do podcasts that put the pressure on and the whole world on top of him and the receivers and the whole offense, and they don't perform well today. And I guarantee if they do it again next week, the whole world's going to come crumbling down when it shouldn't be.
Well, and I think a lot of people were just we're feeling like this was going to be the clean performance. And that next week we could kind of go in as, all right, low expectations. We're playing the Texans, Now it's like, okay, well, now we're back into eval mode. I didn't think we'd be having this kind of conversation. I thought we were going to have a lot smoother of a day, even with us saying that the Titans are not going to be the cakewalk opponent, which they weren't until Will Levis decided to just give plays away in the third and fourth quarter. So,
But that's the offense. I think the defense struggled there a little bit, and then they finally kind of clicked again. That defense really put the pressure on Will Levis in that halfway through the third and into the fourth. Mm-hmm. They started to really get pressure. You started to see the speed of the secondary come into play. You started to see physicality. And that's what we need from that defense is, how do I put this? The offense failed us today, but that defense is what we want. And they got to play. But like if they have to play that way every single week, we are not going to compete. It's hard to maintain that level of defense in today's NFL. Maybe in 2006, you could have played that level of defense, which we did. Mm-hmm. You had Brian Urlacher and company. We don't have those type of players. We have some veteran linebackers started to ease into it. They started to really rotate the D-line. They were not doubling Swift, so he caused a lot of havoc. You had Brinsker come down and make a lot of good tackles.
Yep.
The big interception there at the end was huge. And then Will Levis, by God, just flipping out there, he shouldn't do that, and we get a pick six. But
you take what you can. I mean, that's all I can. I mean, you got that. By the way, and I did, have to give props to Darrell Taylor for that strip sack of Will Levis that helped kind of basically push things over the needle before Tyreek Stevenson gets that essentially goose egg to his hands the next drive. Darrell Taylor, 2 sacks today as well.
Yep.
Several tackles as well. Had a high motor. And here's the thing. Gervin Dexter also had a sack. All their sacks came second half, by the way, on Will Levis. And I had a complaint on, I had basically went on, when I was on X, I was basically saying first half, I was like, look, this is going to be bad if you can only have Montez Sweat. And, we saw it in the drives that Tennessee was successful kind of just controlling the line. They would take Montez out of the play and essentially just impose their will and kind of dictate the pace is what they did. Now they bailed on the run later, but one thing that helped is when they were doing pass attempts first half, they were able to kind of mix it up because the run was getting them off people's back feet. Then Dexter gets a sack, shuts down a drive in the third quarter. Taylor has 2 crucial sacks in the third and then later in the fourth quarter. Excellent performance from today. And that's what I want to see. Because you can't have your number one guy be lifting the entire world on your shoulders. Great defensive fronts on the line. They are great when they can help supplement some of the pressure away from those star players to be even greater stars. Yes, there are guys that could be Titans. Khalil Mack was even solo by himself. J.J. Watt did it for years. But credit, he also had, Brian Cushing and company and other people on the Texans. But nonetheless, he still could solo tackles like this. Aaron Donald, I can go on and on. But some of the greatest overall defenses have skill position guys that can take off pressure and can make it havoc at any given time. And
yes.
Darrell Taylor's performance gives me a ton of hope that might be our guy.
Yes.
If that's the case, that's fantastic. 2 sacks on the day, and he's a guy that people aren't expecting to be big. Now, credit, it's the Titans, but they did invest a lot of money into that offensive line and got rookie talent. So, see what happens in Houston next week. I like that. He's one of my players of the game, as in a guy I'm highlighting. Excellent performance today. Somebody Chicago really needs a second pass rusher that you can rely on from the edge.
And I was prepared for this. I was prepared to lose this game. And one of the things I was going to point out was our defense was on the field a lot.
Yes.
Titans had the ball for 34 minutes and 53 seconds. They were on the field a lot. And so when they were scoring and they were moving the ball, I was like, man, the defense has got to get off the field. We got to put together drives. And I would have been more happy if the Bears had the ball for 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't go 3 and out. Like, I don't care if they get a first down, then they start to not score or whatever. At least you're putting together some sort of drive and you could fix the little tweaks that happen and the defense gets a little rest. Maybe if you could just manage some more field goals, like that's what you would want. And then hopefully whatever mistakes were made, you fix them and you get a touchdown.
Right.
But it was these damn wide receiver screens. It was continuing to run wide zone. Play action. Somebody was coming up the middle. So I don't know if the O-line just played that bad or if there was miscommunication into what was going on too, which you could make a case for because you got a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
You have a new center that's trying to tell people what to do. And so was it miscommunication? Possibly. We don't know. None of us are going to know unless we were in that locker room. But it does not look good. Like I think people are expecting us to score 40 points and they're expecting all these receivers to have these catches and expect Swift to have all these rushing yards and Caleb Williams is going to shine. That's why I hated putting so much stock into the preseason. I got mad at myself, but I was like, you know what, though?
Yeah,
if we can just get check downs and do this and do that, we'll be okay. And this is your first experience with an NFL defense.
I moved on from using the preseason as a launching point to hype me in for the year long ago. It's always been, honestly, since 2019. Like after 2019 ended, like when it went from the highest of highs to like a complete dud, that was my decision where I'm like, nope, no more preseason hype. We basically wait until week 1 because there's a lot of stuff that flies around and you want to see how it plays out. Now, credit, like I said, I didn't think the offense was going to be this bad. Like lost, like completely in most regards lost. And I kind of see what Shane's doing. And I saw it in the preseason, what he tried to do too, where it's like with the run game, you're wanting to get the lines more flowing and kind of find more places where you can kind of maybe do an RPO or change it up or get maybe a D lineman or some of the second level out and away from the play or, kind of flowing the wrong direction, but never could really consistently get that down. Or the Titans just came in with a fantastic game plan where they're like, look, we're just going to shut this run game down because we know Chicago has the personnel to do it. We've seen it 2 years in a row. Let's just see what they got passing wise with our new acquisitions in the secondary, which they spent a crazy ton on good secondary players. And whether it's that or miscommunication, they played a solid game. I mean, honestly, you can't blame the Titans defense for letting this one go. It is all the complete opposite side of the ball for Brian Callahan's team. It's that simple.
The best offensive thing we had was a 2-point conversion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
when Chicago hasn't won a game with under 150 yards offense since 2006, I mean, that's something right there.
Well, he is the first number 1 overall QB to win in his debut since 2002.
Well, maybe that means something.
Maybe. Let me take a step back. As they were getting into the fourth quarter and momentum started to switch, Swift had a lot of good runs, a lot of big-time runs. They got the ball out quick. They were getting it there, and then there was a couple drop passes. There was a couple where I thought Caleb had somebody open here, but he went here, and those type of things. And, again, looking at the film will really tell. I just thought, sometimes they show that end zone view when they're doing the replay. There were sometimes I thought this guy could have been open. This guy could have been open. And he got happy feet at times, which is going to happen to a rookie quarterback. He did take off and run when he needed to and slid. I was happy with that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So from those aspects, you're like, okay, there's some stuff there. He didn't do the Justin Fields and take a lot of hits when the pocket was moved on him and stuff. So there are positive things to this. You just thought they would score at least 2 touchdowns, like a passing one and a rushing. You just thought they were going to be able to move the ball.
I mean, any touchdown. Anything that was, I don't know, just something that felt like a sustainable drive would have been nice. I think that's all I was really looking for was like, how well do they maintain drives, or is there anything that's going to be killers? You know, that was my question. And clearly that needs a lot of work.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
a really focused week of practice where we go, okay, how the heck did we go from these exciting preseason moments where we look competent in most regards to completely lost in our passing game? Which, by the way, I'll say this again. I didn't think I told you this pre-show. I am officially, if I haven't said this already, I despise receiver screens as a concept, unless you have the right personnel, which somehow Chicago, it doesn't matter the offensive coordinator, whether it's Shane Waldron or Luke Getsy, they both just love receiver screens. But the problem is you can't be going out here and asking freaking DeAndre Carter, who's like a freaking small fry, to be your lead blocker on a receiver screen. You need guys like a Deebo Samuel who have like muscle on their bones that go out here and like lay down the wood as well as catch and receive. You can't be asking these dudes that are like these, you know, these freaking scat back types to do this. And I don't know how this keeps happening, but like I have a personal vendetta now with receiver screens unless you have the personnel. Chicago doesn't have them. Now you can keep honest and do them like once or twice a game, but don't make it like 6 or 7 plays where I'm watching this play and I'm going, oh, gee, I wonder how this is going to play out. Oh, yeah, it's probably going to be like 2 yards at best or like 3 to 4 yard loss at worst. And it's that predictable every time.
I don't mind key screens because you're trying to open up the run game. It's the freaking jailbreak screens. And then an important drive for the Bears. You get a turnover or whatever happened, and they're trying to just march down the field and get a field goal or just take more time off the clock. They go freaking empty on 3rd and 4 or whatever it was and tried that. And it got blown up. Like, why? Why are you going empty when they can blitz right up the middle? And that was your play?
Is this like a Bears thing too? Like, I remember growing up, my dad, similar thing as me. Ron Turner was notorious for this as well. And my dad hated Ron Turner because he would do receiver screen. And maybe this is where this comes from. Because Ron Turner would love leaning into these screens. He loves screens. And I like screens too. Once every like quarter and a half or something when like the defense isn't keying in on it. But that's just it. Somehow this keeps following me.
How do you think I feel? Because I had Ron Turner with Illinois and the Bears.
I'm just saying, like, this is like a core memory of me watching with my dad and like getting used to like becoming a Bears fan is him going, Jesus, Ron Turner does not know how to creatively call an offensive game plan.
I saw a tweet saying, are we sure Luke Getsy isn't on the sideline?
That's what I'm saying. Like the screens were like a Getsy trait. Like, how did it go to the same thing? Waldron has more motion in his play call and like his pre-snap stuff, but it still seems to go like the screen somehow happened. The run game, I just don't think he likes the power run game. I think he just likes getting more in motion, more like pistol types or like RPO type runs, it seems.
Which again,
not as many of the single backs and whatnot, you know, but I digress.
Well, which again, something I didn't think about going into the game was you have some players that were used to Luke Getsy stuff, and now they're trying to get used to, you know, Shane Waldron's stuff too, right? So if the Bears were known for like inside zone and power and counter, well, now they're trying to do inside zone, wide zone, and then sometimes sprinkle that stuff in. They have to get used to it.
Sure.
And again, new pieces. You got Odunze, that's a rookie. Keenan Allen's been all over the place, so he's probably your most consistent of like, hey, I can pick up on what they're doing. I know Moore it can pick up on stuff, but he was still used to the offense that he came into, and he's still, you know, trying to learn from that. But he could probably pick up on it. But then you got Swift, who did all this crazy stuff with the Eagles. So you think he would be able to pick up on some of this. And then you got Caleb Williams, who ran air raid, where if they ran the ball, it was GT counter and inside zone and stuff like that. And the air raid, if Lincoln Riley teaches it like Mike Leach did, because I had a story from a coach that came on here. He got hired by Mike Leach to be a wide receivers coach. Mike Leach looked right at him and said, "You're hired, but if you ever tell my fucking wide receivers 1 high or 2 high, you're fired." Because he doesn't believe in saying, hey, if it's 1 high, you're throwing it here, and 2 high, you're throwing it here. He believes in that in a play call, The receivers are going to find an open spot. You're going to see it, and you get them the ball.
Mhm.
That's what he believed. And Mike Leach had a lot of success with it. If Lincoln Riley teached Caleb Williams the same concept, that's what he knows. I don't know if Lincoln Riley's not a pure air raidist. He has different schemes than Mike Leach did, but if he taught it the same way, because he coached under Mike Leach.
Right. One
This
of
is different.
One of the two founders of the air raid, of course.
Right.
You know.
So I don't know. But there's a lot of pieces here that have to get used to this type of offense. Like, Caleb Williams never took a snap under center. Like, he doesn't know all that stuff. And so, again, Bears fans put all this pressure and expectations on paper, because on paper, we should make the playoffs. On paper.
That's my philosophy, is and maybe I'm being aggressive now, but I'm still holding to it. A non-playoff making season for Chicago to me is disappointing with the personnel that they have brought in.
Huge disappointment.
I'm still holding to that, even though we can go with the rookie discussion of the quarterback or like learning systems. I have no excuses. This should be to me, a 9 to 10 win team, where 10 wins is the ideal mark to get to the playoffs as a 7 seed.
Right.
And I think they can get that. I really do. But clearly the offense somehow did not perform or did not show up in the ways we saw with highlight reel plays in the preseason. Like, it did not, like, at least as a coercive group. That's the thing that bugs me. Did not look like they knew what the hell was going on or how to run that system.
And maybe this will be a learning experience. Maybe they let the media get into their head and say, yeah, you should beat Tennessee. Yeah, you should be doing this. I have no idea. I doubt it. But maybe they have a come into Jesus moment after this and say, hey.
All of them go to church?
All of them go to church and just say, hey, our defense, hey, credit to the defense, though. Defense, yeah, we gave up a touchdown or so, but we did our job, right? Like, we're doing our job.
Yeah.
Offense, like, we got to help out the defense a little bit.
Classic Bears conundrum right there, though, isn't it?
Right, but like back in the day, even with the Khalil Mack days, you could rely. Like, that 2018, they did rely on the defense to come away with some things. But as the NFL keeps progressing, you can't do it for 18, 19 weeks anymore. And in 2018, we had some depth for defense. I don't know if we have the same type of depth. And you can't rely on special teams to always come away with like a huge, big play. Because how often do we see block punts every single week?
No, it's not all the time. Now, I will say, though, that's one thing I'll give Eberflus credit. The special teams play, since he has come in, they have found they've done a fantastic job with that unit as a whole. Because last year they did a great job getting block punts at an amazing rate by block punt standards. So that's fine. But I'm with you. You can't lean on a block punt. Like, just think about that. If that block punt doesn't happen, does Chicago win this game? Do we go to overtime at all? Like, think about that. But again, this is a game of inches. I understand. Hypothetical, though.
Hypothetical. Like, do we win the game? It doesn't look that way.
Hard to say. I mean, Tennessee could have just run. They honestly could have just run the clock out if they wanted to with run game, which, by the way, was shocked, and credit, this is more of a Tennessee point. Tony Pollard had an excellent day on the ground, 5.5 yards of carry tote, and they bailed on him second half. They just said, sorry, Tony, we can't roll with you. I'm like, really? Like, what was that? What was that call? I was surprised. They were dominating the front line, and they just basically played into Chicago going, all right, we're just gonna have Eberflus send pressure from different angles. We're gonna let the edges finally catch up and start getting some momentum. Kind of surprised me because Chicago gave up 140 yards rushing. Now, credit, some of that was Will Levis, but by Bears standards, that's a pretty bad day at the office for a run defense perspective. From the last 2 years.
I agree. I thought they were going to keep riding him. I thought they were going to start doing screens with him because he can catch the ball, or he could just go out in routes.
Because, Tony was kind of their catalyst. Like, Calvin Ridley had a few catches, but that's about it. Jalen Johnson did a fantastic job locking down DeAndre Hopkins, by the way. Injury questionable or not, he did a great job.
I was going to say, did he even have a catch? He had
one catch for 8 yards. It was like fourth quarter, had like a quick out route. It was about it.
No, like I said, the defense, besides a couple breakdowns, you have to be happy with what they did. Now, they should have stopped the run a little bit better, but that's also because I kind of said this about Illinois in the Kansas game. is it just me or the Bears defense look fast? Like their defensive line looks fast.
Yeah.
Their linebackers look fast. And sometimes too fast is a bad thing. They run right by the running back. They're going too quick. And I said this about the Illinois-Kansas game. You have to be okay with certain plays like that and giving up the yards as long as you don't give up 30 points. So if this is what happens, you only give up 17. And I know to some people 17 is a lot. To me, I'm like, that's perfect because then you're hoping that your offense could score 20 points.
17 for a defense on a day like this. And keep in mind, like, there was also the Velus Jones fumble, as well. So you gave up 2 solid offensive drives in the first half, like 2 actual offensive drives.
Right.
That's a really and a shutout in the second half. That's a damn good day of the office by any stretch of the imagination. So that's not a problem. And again, this is the part that you and I talked as well. No surprise. If it's Matt Eberflus running the defense, which we saw this in Indianapolis, and we saw at the end of the year, it's going to be a well-run machine. His guys are going to run around fast. They're going to have good tackling for the most part. There's like 1 or 2 times they miss tackles, but for the most part, they hit a guy, he goes down within half to a yard. Like that's a Matt Eberflus defense.
They rally pretty well when they're trying to get tackled. They are getting there. Mm-hmm. They're aggressive. They want to hurt. They almost want to hurt people because of how hard they hit.
Right.
I'm all for it.
That's his bread and butter. That's what he what he made famous for himself in Indianapolis. That's what got him this job in Chicago.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. Incredible defensive mind and great job at getting guys to rally. Now, Shane Waldron, again, he's the guy that's supposed to be coming in to be the guru for Caleb and to get this sorted. And again, can't say much more, but hey, ball's in your court, man. Clearly the 2 other phases have their, and I pardon my French, they have their shit together, but apparently somehow, like I said, Shane, what are you doing, dude? I do not want to have a Luke Getsy discussion again this year. There's no reason we should be. I don't think Ryan Poles wants to either.
No, he's probably like, oh my God.
I mean, Ryan's already getting, at least the front office is already getting railed on for not investing in the interior line very well again. And, well, somewhat their fault in my way, but keeping Velus Jones on roster as well. So, these are minor things, but it's all offensive sided things too. So
Caleb Williams is quoted in saying, don't care about stats as long as we win.
And you know what? It is what, like, look, they got the W. Okay. Fix it as you go. But just keep in mind that that piece does not work for too long.
No.
As well.
And now, again, I don't think we're overreacting. We're just kind of looking towards the future of like you start to get to week 8 and these similar problems are still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then something needs to happen. I think we're okay with this happening week 1 because I think you and I both agreed like it wasn't 100% must win, but I was already seeing it when it was 17-0. I was like, I know it's not a must win, but you can't lose like this.
Well, that was my worry was, last year. I mean, you and I still vividly remember last year how visceral the Matt Eberflus fire train was, like starting the year and how it lasted like through like mid-season. And so my thought was, okay, if they can't get this win with a Tennessee team that even with the 17-3 halftime like score didn't look like they were dominating. It just looked like they were doing enough to just stay ahead of mistakes. Like I was only imagining what that discourse would look like if Chicago couldn't pull that out.
Mm-hmm.
So this weathers the storm. Thank God, because if they would have gone in with a loss against Houston, this would be a whole different conversation online right now. And honestly, now it's back to status quo. Okay, cool. First 4 games are really tough. Let's see what happens. Can the offense now get their wheels on the tracks and then get into kind of the softest part of the middle portion of your schedule before you have the back half of the year where you have a crazy ton of divisional games to deal with?
And I'm already starting to see Bears Twitter slowly start to unravel. You're starting to see we were all together and now it's slowly just starting to do this. Like if my hands were together, it's only like this far away now. And and if the offense doesn't look better next week, you're going to start to see it do this some more. And then you've got these podcast guys talking about, well, this is what we talked about all off season. And Caleb Williams, this is okay. And everything else. And it's like, I understand if you want to talk about what he could be, and I totally get it, what he could be, and that we shouldn't overreact. But these people, if he had 400 yards passing, they'd be overreacting right now, saying he's the best thing since Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and he's the next Patrick Mahomes, and all this stuff. And that's not what we should be doing. We need to be saying, is week by week he's getting better because he is a rookie. Mm-hmm. Like Tom Brady said it, and you start to wonder if he's right. Rookies shouldn't be starting week one.
Well,
and you start to wonder that.
Tom definitely has an older school approach to this thing, which, I mean, feels like as the years have gone by, teams get more and more desperate to get that starter out the door to find that quick fix because they realize they only got a few years to do it, And credit, here's the difference with, and I think this doesn't why it doesn't fit Tom's description is, look, you're bringing in the guy that's like considered to many, even coming into the draft, the prodigal son. Mm-hmm. The quick plug and play, Heisman winner, crazy throws and whatnot. Some people going as far as to, and again, I don't agree with this right now, comparing the Mahomes trait stuff, and whatnot. That is what it is. Again, I think this performance today, if we're going to evaluate quarterback right now, you and I think it's a sprinkle of some chemistry that for some reason is not fully there with certain individuals, whether it is DJ Moore with one or two instances I've seen, or Rome Odunze surprisingly, or playing into the Rome Odunze part, something has not clicked, and the complete game plan for the receiving portion of the game plan kind of just fell by the wayside in a few regards. Because there's the thing. Plus, and I'm with some of the crowd here. I know maybe you're talking about game plan in a way when you're discussing. I'm with Caleb. Hey, where's the tempo, man? Like, let's move this thing along. Clearly we see it. It's working. Like you saw it. It's working. Quick throw, quick throw, quick throw. Keep the defense having to play man and get the quick throws out. Hopefully it opens something up. Hopefully it opens the run game. But for some reason, Waldron wants to slow it down, which again, that's where the Getsy traits come out. Because it's like, wait a minute, didn't we just watch our last OC do the same thing where it's like, oh yeah, we get like some quick plays and all of a sudden it's like, okay guys, we gotta chill out. It's like, really?
Right.
They're on their back feet. Why? Go for the kill shot, but that stuff's got to get fixed real quick. Not going to be too much longer. Even with a tough schedule, you're going to have some discourse talked about. It doesn't matter who they're playing, even if it is Houston or Indianapolis or the Rams. Like, this is going to be brought up consistently. It doesn't matter the opponent. So it just gets buffered because they're good opponents coming up the next 3 weeks.
I know. And I'm going to listen to these podcast guys because I like to prove them wrong. And I want to, do the opposite of what they do because I can't handle it.
Oh my God. I think you might need to decompress from that stuff a little bit.
Oh no, I have it paused on my computer where I left off, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to the BS.
Oh, you're going to have fun then.
I'll listen to Lance Briggs because he played. I'll listen to what he has
to say. Sure. Hey, look, it's good to have Lance as a guest. Random thing, by the way. This is total random skew, and do not take it the way this is, people. I'm just saying because commercials run on television. Brian Urlacher in a Trump ad. Saw that today. That was a unique part of my football viewing experience.
Yeah,
no message on my thoughts on that beyond the fact he just happened to show up in a Trump ad. That's all I got. So,
I love Brian Urlacher.
Yeah, I love him too. Legend. My childhood hero as well. So yeah, just a random thing I saw today that while we're talking Lance Briggs, you can't talk about one without the other to me personally.
Sorry, I'm going after somebody that were commenting on my picture.
Nice.
Nothing to do with Bears. Someone took a picture of me during the game, my football game, and the skyline was cool. And I commented on it. I was like, I wonder what I was thinking about during that moment.
Mr. Coach Gear himself.
And somebody commented, why is my hat backwards? And why do I have 2 shirts on and shorts? So I had to correct him. I always wear my hat backwards during football games because it's game time. I'm going to wear it backwards because I'm ready to go. I've done that since I started coaching. I was wearing shorts because it's 75 degrees outside. So I'm in shorts. And it's not 2 shirts. Our coach got us this really cool thing where this part is blue. Then the sleeves attached to it are white. It's really cool, actually. Yeah. So I had to comment and say, here's my comment to people. I said, I always wear my hat backwards during games. I coach in shorts because it's comfortable. It's 1 shirt. Thanks for making a dumb statement, is what I said. Just so you know.
Solid photos you got from your high school action this week.
We have a mom that takes pictures on the sideline, and
that's good. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Hey, it was to be more positive. This was a perfect. Besides how we won today, it's a perfect sports weekend. My high school team won. Illinois won.
I think the Illini are ranked by next week. You can add a 4th piece onto this too.
They're not. They tweeted they're like ranked 26.
Oh, come on. That's 1 win away. Like they're right there. 26. They're going to be right there. But no, it's been a good sports weekend then. Same thing. Yeah. Look, wins a win. Just I don't know. I'm watching you, Shane Waldron. I see what's going on. I'm watching you, Coleman Shelton. You better not be I swear to God. That's my other thing with Waldron. He better not be starting next week. That's all I'm going to say. That's my final notes. That center position better not be occupied by Coleman Shelton next week.
It will be. You already know.
It shouldn't be, though. Not after that. Not against Houston coming up. Not against Indianapolis. Not against LA, even without Aaron Donald.
And if Velus Jones Jr. returns a punt or a kickoff, I am going to throw the TV out the window.
Yeah, look.
Carter did a great job. He needs to be the guy.
One of my fascinating checkouts when it comes to Bears accounts is the Bears blog, and maybe this is a good way to end the show. Just given how the game went today, look, great defensive performance, offense was iffy. Some stuff I felt execution wise weren't perfect, but I think the Bears blog said it best here. And let me get this back up. I don't know why I lost this. I always seem to lose stuff like this when I need it the most. Here we go. He says, and I quote,
I stopped following this guy because I can't.
It's okay. I'm just listing off something. I don't follow him. I get his tweets because I'm in the community. But here's what I got. Eberflus is a good coach. I really believe that. Today was important for him. Is Matt Eberflus a good head coach, Steve? I think he's a good coordinator, but is he a good head coach?
And this is a very loaded question because how do you define a good head coach?
Because to me, you can't define a coordinator is a part of a coaching staff. But do I consider that a good head coach if you're good at just one position and not managing the rest? Because I still don't think he's great at managing the entire whole. I just think he's great at managing what he knows best.
Sorry, this guy's coming after me, so I'm going to get rid of it. Okay. It's a loaded question because do we define good coaches as people that get along with the players and they can handle that well in the locker room?
Which, I mean, he does. So there is that part. You're right.
But a lot of people look at wins and losses. They look at game time management. They look at how does the offense look? Because even though you're a defensive-minded head coach, they're going to look at the offense and say, you're the head coach, though, so, you need to kind of step in. So it's a very loaded question. I mean, I guess you could technically say no, but that doesn't mean he's a bad head coach either.
I think there are elements I wish he did better in terms of game and in terms of just, I don't know. I've never been a fan of how he uses timeouts, and I always feel like for some reason I don't seem to see the same things I hear or watch from practices in the week always manifest on the field is how if that makes any sense. Defensively, I think that is fully changed for the better, but I'm still missing that full thing. And maybe this is a sign. They did finish this game. They came back. last year, this game, they would have just sulked away and found ways to lose it again, much like his first year. So maybe that leaf has changed. But I'm still on the to be determined pile with that case.
Yeah, I'm going to block this guy because I can't handle it no more.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes it's good for your headspace.
It's not even about the Bears.
Interesting.
Fuck face.
Talking about the Bears?
No, it's not even about the Bears. It's just about my picture I posted.
That's weird. That's very weird.
He shared it and said, podcast host, air raid certified, backwards hat, play call sheet, looking into the sunset. It's the Holy Grail. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, he's thinking you're like a coach stereotype? Is that what's going on there?
It's a parody account that I think was after coaches. And so I'm going to block it. I don't got time for that.
Nah, that photo was cool, man. Don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking, or that person doesn't know what he's talking about. Just being honest.
Yeah, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I don't got time for that nonsense. Just like I don't have time for the nonsense of Adam Hogue on CHGO talking about his flip-flopping stuff.
Oh, I wish Adam did not flip his opinions as much as he did, but what do I know? So
like I said, I respect the hustle. I respect the work. But he flip-flops on everything. He overreacts to stuff, or he's all in, and then when it doesn't work, he doesn't admit he's wrong. He says, oh, this is what was going to happen. And then the other people look at him like, well, you coach high school football. You know what you're doing. He coaches at a Catholic school where they get to recruit kids. He doesn't go through the public school like I do. So I don't trust anything he says about coaching because you might have Division I athletes on your team. I'm just, it's.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Except Braggs Jr. again.
Oh, I don't know. Look, I got no problem. Greg is fantastic. That is, I think the spirit of the fan base runs through him, and then I think he's pretty fair and consistent with how he views things.
Absolutely,
it's not to change for a day. That's how I'm. Hey, if you aren't like a day by day change guy, I'm with you on things like that. Like, look, change is not always a flip of a switch.
Well, even though there were a lot of struggles, the Bears are still sitting there 1-0.
Got that dub, man.
Got the W. They're tied with Minnesota right now because they got a win as well.
Yeah, Minnesota, they played the Giants, but I mean, I don't know, not too bad a performance. I saw a bit of that game today while I was at the bar. So.
Green Bay lost, and they might lose their quarterback for a little stint.
Fun thing: Malik Willis or Sean Clifford might be starting.
That'll be the question. Detroit plays today or tomorrow?
Say Detroit?
Yeah, they play tomorrow.
Play the Rams tonight.
That's right.
And San Francisco and the Jets are Monday Night Football. See if Rodgers can be healthy for this one and not play a few snaps and then get knocked out for the year.
I can't wait for that. I'll watch the Detroit game tonight. I can't wait for that one.
Oh, that's going to be good. I mean, I've already seen a lot of beef from people from last divisional round. Remember when the Rams played the Lions last year?
Yes. Yep.
Or earlier this year? That was a lot of beef online between those fan bases around the Stafford and saga.
They're like, Stafford's wife won't be at the game.
Well, that's the thing. It's like a will she, won't she? Because she said so much shit online on her podcast that she's borderline afraid of going.
Yeah, I did.
Which I'm like, hey, look, when you signed up for this, you kind of put yourself in with a crosshair on your back. I feel bad for Stafford's children who might want to go to the game because their mom might have put a bit of a target on if she's afraid to go.
I think she did, dating a guy to make him jealous.
That's wild. That is I don't use out of pocket often, Steve. I feel awkward saying it. That's out of pocket crazy stuff right there. To say on any platform about your superstar husband.
Yeah, she didn't think that one through.
Like that's like beyond Brittany Mahomes anything that she's done in recent years.
And I didn't really know who Stafford's wife was until that moment. I'm like, oh yeah, that's his wife.
Meanwhile, on the football front, as we're finishing up, Raiders up on Chargers by a point. Denver's up by a point on Seattle. Dallas getting up 14-3 in Cleveland. And Baker Mayfield enjoying the spoils of his earnings in buff Tampa as they're up on the Commanders. So,
yeah, Jim Harbaugh's era kicks off with the Chargers there. Luke Getsy play calling still for the Raiders.
I know. I mean, they're up by a point, though. So something's working.
I might click that game on, and then every time they throw a receiver screen, I'll just tweet, receiver screen. No, there's another one.
The only last thing I want to see here. Gardner Minshew, 11 for 15, 127, a touchdown.
Oh, I'm a big fan.
No rushing to speak of. Only a combined 24 yards rushing. And their lead back in, oh my God, I didn't even realize the lead back for the Raiders is Alexander Madison. Alexander Madison. You know, aka like Diet Dalvin Cook.
Yes. Yep. Oh. I'm a big Gardner Minshew fan, though. Love him.
Oh, dude.
I wanted him on the Bears so bad before the whole Caleb Williams stuff. I was like, bring him in over Justin Fields. Bring him in.
I mean, he didn't do too. I mean, he almost led the Colts to a playoff berth last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not a bad QB. I mean, he just, hasn't been like stellar. He's just good. He's just not like stellar.
He's steady Eddy. You know what you're going to get.
Right. He is the quintessential, and I think this is how I would play it. And actually, maybe similar to this, he's like the quintessential, like, good game manager you do for a fill-in, Yeah. He's your great bridge. He's gonna be the next great bridge QB that gets going around the league, like a Jacoby Brissett, who's on the back end of his stuff right now. That's gonna be Minshew's role moving forward. I feel,
or kind of like a Kyle Orton, like you're gonna put him in. What you're gonna get.
That's another good comp.
That type of stuff.
Not crazy arm talent, but good enough to get you. Chad Pennington. That's another one I can put.
Oh yeah, there. I forgot about his son plays at Marshall. That's how old I feel.
Right. Yeah, Chad Pennington's a good comp. Not crazy arm strength, but like he'll get you the good mid range and stuff to move you down the field.
Oh yeah. Well, the Bears are 1-0. I need to put the Discord thing because I gotta get that going.
Yeah. Hey, be sure to put that in. By the way, in the description of this video, if you're not watching live, check out Bear Down Discord. We'll be chatting Bears in there. I'm already in there. Steve's already in there. We'll grow this up. We're gonna chat.
Steve has to remember that he's in there.
Yes, you are it. You are in the server you invited me to.
I just gotta remember that I'm in there. That's the problem.
But yeah, put it, Steve. I know Steve will put it in the description. Put the link in the description. Check us out. We'll share it around too.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's another episode of Bear Down. We'll try to hop back on for a Titans preview and all that good stuff if Steve can figure it out. And check out all the descriptions. Check out Zach's stuff. It's all there. We are 1-0, so let's try to be happy. We are 1-0.
Going for 2 down in H-Town.
Down in H-Town, we're trying to go for 2-0. So thank you guys for watching or listening. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys next time.